Good morning, everyone. Happy Thursday. I'm the Gray Strega, and I'm here to give you your daily collective read for today, Thursday, June 20th, 2024. What do we have coming through in the cards for today? May I please have the first 5 cards in our 5-card spread? First card we are starting our day off with today is Page of Cups in its upright. We've got easement, we've got contentment, we've got progress, we've got positivity. We have a lot of that energy right now. It's a little bit of that like early weekend vibe, if you will. And this makes a lot of sense because yesterday we saw a lot of productivity coming into play. Yesterday was all about communication, all about laying those plans, all about pushing things forward. Today is a little bit more of that energy of feeling in that space or place of repose. So we see even now this is going to have a different impact depending on where you are on the frequency cycles. Masculine and feminine energy right now. One of the reasons we see so much of this energy deep within the union frequency is moving forward in this way is, again, that sense or space of trying to share delight, trying to bring others into that space of joy. Because what we see here, that clarifying factor, is a lot of that commitment that we see that is occurring right now for the energy deep within the divine union frequency. That is that amplification of positivity moving forward in a positive direction. So we see even now, how is the energy within the divine union working through navigating anything that feels like it is difficult or oppositional? Is that energy matching the energy that is coming through in that state or space of low vibration? No, this isn't the way that the energy moves. It is effectively trying to extend that sense of energetic compassion. It's trying to radiate that point of joy. So we see even now that a lot of the energy working in that capacity, this is why there's a little bit of that open palm approach, if you will, that is occurring in those spaces and places and areas, because that is effectively the equivalent of the energy that is trying to express and articulate the happiness that they have in relationality to moving in this direction. And in that way, that is the energy that feels like, again, coming into that point of satisfaction, coming into that point of delight. This could also be a lot of care and attention that the energy within the union is giving towards one another, almost creating those states and spaces of easement. While for masculine and feminine energy right now that is coming into the divine union, a lot of this work, what happens in those modalities where you do the hard part first? This is the energy that has, while there may even still be a very, I want to say, these are new commitments that are forming. But these are movement, these new energetic commitments that we see are happening very slowly. And why are they happening slowly right now? Because the energy moving into the divine union is feeling the contentment and the security that occurs with that ability of recognizing the direction that something is moving towards. And we see even now what occurs in those moments that we kind of do all the hard work first. That's that moment that almost allows for that amplification of delight. So we see even now like that sensation or that vibration of a lot of this energy moving into divine union. It's allowing for a far more enjoyable experience while coming into that frequency, because it is one that is being built off of security or stability, because this is the energy that, while they may not necessarily have given one another a commitment at this point, they actually have. Because the ability to articulate about where one aspires to be, giving that as an option that someone can choose to move forward with, that is effectively energetically a space or place where the energy does not need to struggle or worry or feel anxiety or doubt as to what is happening. That is the energy that can just enjoy what is occurring with the sense of having recognized that that milestone has already been breached, that accomplishment has already been achieved, right? Like in a way, this is like the celebration point of some of that manifestation goal. While for masculine and feminine energy right now that is in separation, this is a lot of the energy moving forward right now, feeling the security and the easement and the positivity at play in moving in such a way or moving in such a direction that is the amplification, if you will, of the energy recognizing and identifying and being ready to build new energetic connections, moving with a lot of that positivity. Why? Because this is energy that is having breakthroughs in separation. If this is energy that is moving away from connections that either one of two different modalities were occurring, either these were spaces and places where there was a mutual acknowledgement of different manifestation goals, which immediately led to a breakthrough, because even there we see that beautiful friendships, beautiful partnerships are occurring based on the clarity and compassion that is being recognized in the counterpart. Or these are situations and circumstances wherein the ability to articulate and say that one is moving away from a circumstance or scenario because there wasn't an ability to see the manifestation goal being brought forth in relationality to where something is going. This is the energy that feels confident in that way, because this is the energy that feels to a certain extent that they've overcome a hurdle. And the hurdle that they're overcoming is the hurdle within the self, because this isn't energy that's choosing a liminal space. This is the energy that is choosing to move forward with the energy that is able to articulate what that path forward looks like. And that's the energy that's feeling like that change is occurring, that when you move towards energy that makes the future mysterious, that's almost that moment of recognizing that you're choosing the mystery. You're choosing the energetic hardship. So that ability of not taking it personally when one observes that, but just recognizing it for what it is, the ability to not internalize an external problem. This is the breakthrough point that a lot of this energy is adopting in separation, because it's one that allows for the forgiveness of the self in the process. This isn't the energy that is agonizing as to why something isn't there if they're not seeing it in another. That's energy that is just saying and taking that easement point and saying, it is what it is. If it's there, it would show itself. So that ability, like that is that moment that almost creates that sense of abundance within the self, because it is the appreciation of holding one's own energetic standard to such an extent that one feels the contentment of your actions. Second card in our 5-card spread for today is, we have here our World card in its reversal. Because this is the energy that is effectively in separation, not making the determination point of moving into anything that's already showing some expression of creating energetic chaos. This is the energy that, again, is like, it's almost seeing that ability there. It's seeing that path work and just kind of saying, like, to a certain degree, that's okay. That's all right. I'm okay. Don't need that. I'll pass on that, because that is the energy that is looking towards themselves, and they're basically amplifying and saying, if I'm showing an ability to express a manifestation goal, this isn't energy that is struggling as to why. These aren't individuals in separation here that are effectively over internalizing that problem. This is the energy that in the moment they recognize that that is something that is being experienced, not something that needs to be changed within the self. That is the energy that is being able to make choices that they feel amplify what they are offering, right? And I have to say right now, some of this energy in separation, especially if these are places or spaces that you're moving away from something or someone, and we're even seeing that only, again, at that point that a manifestation goal is being brought forth, a lot of that energy is almost kind of stepping away from that to a certain degree, specifically due to the recognition and understanding that when something feels like it proves difficult, if something feels like it proves a hurdle, then moving towards it doesn't mean that that's going to get easier. That's the energy that recognizes that what you see typically doesn't change. It just amplifies. And so that's the energy that is feeling that sense of contentment, because that's the energy in separation that is just being very present, being very observant, and being very mindful of what they feel they want to move towards versus what they feel like they want to circumvent. While for masculine and feminine energy right now that is coming into divine union, a lot of this work that we're seeing to a large degree has to do with that feeling of working towards that ability of being each other's peace, of creating that sense of joy for one another. Because we see even here that for a lot of that energy within the divine union frequency, that ability of amplifying, of coming into that process of prioritizing the counterpart to a certain extent, that is effectively why this energy right now is moving through those hurdles or through those difficulties, if you will. And effectively, again, not matching the energy of anything outside of the union that feels like it's creating that difficulty, but almost, again, sharing that feeling of energetic compassion, sharing that feeling of energetic gratitude, working in that space and being very energetically mindful at the same time in relationality to, again, doing what one can do. And it does see, I even see here for a lot of that energy coming into divine union, that ability of seeing how easy it can be to facilitate a partnership with an individual that wants the same things that you want, or you have that clarity, or you have that understanding. The difficulty or hurdle that's happening in these modalities right now has to do with one's own perception on anything that didn't provide that from a far different context, right? So we see even now that there are some energies right now that are coming into divine union that are suddenly going into some massive healing modalities right now, as a result of one's own perception shifting in such a way that allows you to see the full expanse of what you are trying to heal from. While for masculine and feminine energy right now, that is moving into, that's deep within the divine union frequency, a lot of this work that we're effectively seeing at this time has to do with navigating those exterior situations outside of the frequency, working to try to facilitate harmony, working to try to extend one's own feeling of positivity into those spaces and places. It's hard work. It's difficult work. It's challenging work. But we see even now that for a lot of the energy working in that capacity, that ability to do so, that's that moment that creates that sense of internal easement, because this isn't the energy that's doing that for the sake of fixing something. That isn't the energy that feels like that weight of feeling like one needs to change it. But again, that almost moment of coming forward in such a way and doing something in a small way, the way one aspires or desires it to do, that is the energy that is feeling this contentment and security of matching and moving in the vibration of their highest self. Third card in our 5-card spread for today is, we have here our 7 of Swords in its reversal. A lot of this work right now that we're seeing, particularly for the energy within the divine union frequency, has to do with helping that work in terms of facilitating and trying to go forward from a point of progress. A lot of the energy right now, deep within the divine union frequency, is reaffirming their own commitment not to go back to situations and circumstances in such a way. And even I have to say here, for some of the energy right now coming into divine union, that ability to articulate, that ability to help clarify, even for energy outside the divine union frequency, is articulating on the change that has occurred around and within you due to the fact of being within the divine union frequency. Because a lot of this energy, if it is activating, if it feels like it's making a lot of changes and they're experiencing a little bit of that pushback by the energy around these circumstances or situations, that ability to reaffirm that there has been a change that has occurred, that is effectively a lot of that energy that is, again, reaffirming their own commitment towards moving forward, having that be a point of productivity, having that be a point of change, because this is the energy right now that doesn't feel like they're going back into past cycles. This is energy that the reason they're feeling that inevitability is because they're moving forward into that path of progress, right? And so we can almost see here that for some of the energy right now coming into divine union, that ability of wanting to navigate forward, that ability of wanting to like expedite that path work, it's almost like it's like where the rubber meets the road, if you will, in terms of recognizing how much that change like doesn't, it's like it requires that ability of bringing the energy around you into the same moment or the same modality, because that is that opportunity that we're seeing here, that energy is almost like amplifying the fact that those changes, if they're creating the feeling of chaos or confusion for energy outside the divine union frequency, it's almost the energy of the divine union that's trying to articulate and say that that's not the intention. While for masculine and feminine energy that is coming into the divine union, this is that massive healing that we're seeing that's occurring in this modality. Because if these are situations and circumstances that you're feeling that excitement in, this is the energy that feels like there's excitement because you're feeling that even here there's something that has changed. That ability of recognizing and identifying something that has changed. That is that moment that this energy coming into divine union right now feels excitement, because this doesn't feel like the past repeating itself. This doesn't feel like you're going back into an old pattern. This is energy that is building forward right now in connections with a sense of clarity and openness and understanding. So we see even now that while this, and why do we see that so much of this energy right now, this is almost the energy coming into divine union saying to themselves, if I feel so excited, if I feel so happy, why do I also feel so frustrated? Because that is the amplification of how far this healing is reaching. Because the ability to get beyond something, this is energy that is reaching points of closure of past experience by having present breakthroughs. And it's in the moment of having a breakthrough that we often finally and fully recognize just how much we are healing, or just how much more we have to heal. Because it's only the moment that you step away from something can you really recognize and identify the full magnitude of it. While for masculine and feminine energy and separation, a lot of the energy in separation is making these types of choices. But that breakthrough point, and this is why this energy is feeling so much of that contentment, is feeling and observing the changes within the self, not returning into past patterns, not repeating past cycles. This is the energy that's committing on the path forward. But the path forward isn't one of accommodation. It is a path forward in coming into a sense of personal celebration in relationality to recognizing and holding one's own energetic space in such a way that the energy is not effectively trying to change the energy outside of the self, but is just looking for the energetic counterpart that is ready and willing to match the frequency of what one is offering with the same energetic offer. Fourth card in our 5-card spread for today is the Page of Pentacles. It's for so much of this energy and separation right now. This is why that's so beautiful, because we keep getting this message that is coming through about the idea of, again, a lot of this healing that's happening for energy and separation right now is going to be the repetition of stating the fact of not internalizing an external problem. Not internalizing an external problem. This is the energy that in the past you may have had those moments where if someone wasn't giving you their manifestation goal, this isn't the energy that's like, flagellating themselves or be like tearing themselves apart, trying to ask what is wrong with them for not receiving this. This isn't the energy that's trying to change the self to elicit that type of response or that type of gift out of another. This is the energy that's having the breakthrough of saying to the self, if I come forward towards someone with a manifestation goal and they don't show an ability to do same, that is indicative of one thing and one thing only, that what I am seeking in another isn't there. And so the ability for the energy to have that breakthrough point and simply to accept that energetically is what is allowing the energy to effectively move on with easement. It's like creating like that lubrication. It's just like making something so much easier, because again, you're not taking it personally. If someone's not giving it forth, you're just acknowledging that it is occurring, and you're not going into repeating the past cycle of potentially hanging around with the hope and aspiration that a manifestation goal will present itself. Because this is also the energy in separation that recognizes that when you stay in a relationship hoping for a manifestation goal to appear, then you abandon your own manifestation, and your manifestation is literally just building into the hope that a manifestation goal will appear. So we see even now, like, that is creating a lot of this smoothness, like just a lot more easement for some of the energy in separation, because it's moving more into that binary of saying it's either present or it's not. And if it's not present, the energy is just moving forward with a state of personal contentment. While for masculine and feminine energy that is coming into divine union, this is the energy that's having the breakthrough around situations and circumstances wherein that may exactly have happened prior to this moment. Because if this is energy that is working through, seeing how easy it can be, seeing how kind, how light, how the gift of clarity that we give each other that allows us to move into that space of delight and certainty. This is the energy that may be saying right now, if I feel so happy, why do I feel so sad? If I feel so delighted, why do I feel so angry? Because this is the energy that's recognizing the full extent of what they had to go through to be able to learn that energetic lesson, and only being able to fully understand the magnitude of that lesson in the moment that one is receiving what one might have been seeking in other situations and scenarios. While for masculine and feminine energy that is coming into, that's in the heart of the divine union, this is the energetic equivalent of the energy not feeling like they need to change everything around them, but just trying to be in the right energetic frequency. Again, this is the energy deep within the divine union frequency that is not, again, not internalizing an external problem, but this is the energy within the divine union frequency that isn't necessarily not trying to internalize an external problem, but putting a lot of work in terms of their own energetic frequency towards anything that feels like it is problematic, with that sense of almost like getting that point of saying every little bit helps, right? That's that energy that's almost like sharing their dream with others in the state or space of being able to do what one can in such a way that it feels like it helps kind of set that template. So we see even now, like, it's almost like that energy that says like every little bit helps. It might not fix everything, but every little bit helps. So this is the energy that in that way is like, again, just putting that gentle work towards those bigger issues, those bigger problems, with that sense of trying to recognize and almost trying to, like, feel like that sense of not being overwhelmed by the task at hand, not being overwhelmed by how much needs to be fixed, but doing everything they can along the way. Fifth card in our 5-card spread for today is, we have here our 3 of Pentacles in its upright. Masculine and feminine energy right now that is deep within the divine union frequency. This is just really articulating and amplifying the stability that you're working towards right now, because this is the energy within the divine union frequency that feels the stability and security of the partnership itself. This is the energy right now within the frequency that, again, having that, like, what occurs in those modalities wherein you and a counterpart share the same dream, share the same goal, share the same vision, working in towards that capacity. That is that modality that we effectively see that again, it's the prioritization and the focus of where the energy is concentrating that's helping build that sense of perspective. Because even here, we see that while the energy within the divine union frequency may be trying to put that point of consideration there, maybe trying to put that point of like energetic support, there's a limit. There's a limitation. There's like a limitation vector in relationality to how far they will be willing to go in relationality to helping someone else recognize and understand and support the work that they're doing within that manifestation. Because that is the difference. Because again, what did we say? We're talking a lot about the focus of manifestation goals. This is the energy that says they don't want to just continue working to try to manifest a change in someone else. That is that moment of trying to prioritize and maintaining that sense or center of keeping towards the task at hand. While for masculine and feminine energy right now, that is coming into divine union, a lot of this is feeling that security. I need to stress right now, what's so fascinating about a lot of this energy coming into divine union right now is this is energy almost saying, I don't know why I feel so stable in this. It's not like we've committed to each other. It's not like we've promised towards one another. But you don't have to. Do you see that? Because this is the energy that's almost recognizing that the promise that occurred in this modality was already given in the clarity that was received. Because this isn't energy that has to take a wait and see approach to see if someone has integrity. This is energy that feels that they've already recognized energy that moves with the same integrity as the self in the expression of the manifestation goal. Because what occurred in the moment that these energies honestly articulated what their dreams are to one another, that is that moment that you introduce a dream to another that amplifies the fact that you are not prioritizing that dream coming into focus. You are prioritizing the energy willing to go along with you on the way. So that is the energy that feels that there's some kind of strong bond here that's occurring between them and the energy that they're starting to build a connection with, because that is the bond that supersedes words. That is the action that speaks louder than words. That is the ability to see someone who stands in integrity, who is willing to relinquish an energetic connection if there is a feeling of someone that would not be willing to move along with them on that path. So this is why we see even now, this is energy that feels that excitement that is amplifying, because they feel like that is the strong start of a very solid, stable, foundational relationship. While for masculine and feminine energy that is coming into divine, that's in separation, this is why the energy is moving away from anyone that isn't showing an ability to articulate on a manifestation goal so much more quickly. Because this is the energy that's effectively saying to themselves, I can't build something with someone who tells me they don't know what they want to build. I can't create something with someone who seems like they have no way to articulate what it is that we have between us, or has no ability or desire to share in my own ability to articulate upon a manifestation goal. This is the energy that, again, the breakthrough that a lot of the energy in separation is receiving right now is simply in the fact of not internalizing an external problem, just recognizing that it is there and keeping, much like we said, the manifestation goal as the priority, not changing one's manifestation goal to be the manifestation of someone presenting their manifestation goal to you. So this is the energy that's just like, again, it's a little bit of like that kind of energy. It's like it feels that easement and the confidence that comes in, because that's the energy that feels the security and stability of that choice, that feels like they're building stability towards their manifestation goal. But it's starting within the self. It's starting within the self. It's feeling that stability within. Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now between our Page of Cups in its upright and our World card in its reversal. One card to clarify, please. Clarification coming through right now with our Six of Swords in its reversal. Look at this. None of this energy is just not going back. This is the energy. Listen, healing comes in many forms. A lot of this energy, I need to tell you, a lot of this energy in separation had way too much chaos in the past. This is the energy that's like, this is the affirmation of a lot of the energy in separation that is affirming their own energetic commitment not to go back to any of the hardships of the past. So if these are spaces and places of separation wherein the temptation was opening, energy was seeing something where they were building that feeling of kinship with someone who was giving that mutual sense of being able to articulate upon the past, but there was that resistance in being able to articulate upon what one wants going forward. This is the energy that steps away from that table. And in the moment of stepping away from the table, it's the confidence and the security of feeling oneself, making the choice that you know is best for the self. Making the choice that is best for the self, that is allowing a lot of that energy to almost feel a bit of that internal celebration, because that's the energy that's recognizing their ability to do so. That's the energy that recognizes their ability to do so, that feels like an accomplishment. It feels like an energetic victory, because it's that moment of feeling confident in oneself as you proceed forward. While for masculine and feminine energy right now that is coming into the divine union, a lot of this energetic equivalent that we're seeing here has to do with this energy, and this is why this can feel a little bit more frustrating or a little bit more hard to bear for the energy that is coming into divine union. Because for a lot of that energy coming into divine union right now, at the moment that you receive something, that's when the healing begins. Because it's a moment that you receive something that your perception shifts. So for a lot of that energy, that ability to see that ability to recognize that ability to see how simple it can be when you're moving towards energy that wants the same things that you want, that can often feel destabilizing at times, because it makes you change one's own perception on the past to such a degree that it can feel a little rattling. It can feel a little frustrating. It can, for the feminine energy, we saw a lot of potential frustration or anger arriving up from those situations from the past. For masculine, a bit more of that space of potential energetic regret. One, seeing something clearly, one like outside of the self, one seeing something clearly within the self. Masculine and feminine moving deep within the divine union frequency, bearing in mind this is not based on gender, but what it feels most aligned to. For a lot of the energy deep within the divine union frequency, this is that moment that we see to a certain extent that has to do with the energy prioritizing what it is that they're creating within. This is the energy that's staying very focused in relationality to moving forward with a lot of that joy and determination at this time. And while we see here that there is that feeling of frustration, there's that feeling of the space that's outside of the divine union frequency that often feels like it's more chaotic. This is the energy that is doing what they can as they can without losing their own focus in terms of what it is that they're trying to create with between themselves, that allows for that feeling of stability, because that is, again, a little bit about that. And that's why we see so much patience is required here, because a little bit of that energy is almost one that doesn't want to, I want to say, like that anxiety of not wanting to rush through a process for fear of not building something in a strong way. Like a lot of that energy, even here, we see that a lot of the energy within the divine union is taking a very slow approach, because that slowness is the indicator of stability, because that is the ability to move slow when one wants to move fast is that moment of recognizing the intentionality around how one is moving. Continuing to get clarification between the World card in its reversal in combination with our Seven of Swords in its reversal. One card to clarify, please. Clarification coming through right now with our five of cups. I'm going to tell you, there's a lot, I want to say a lot of unpacking today. A lot of energetic unpacking. It's like, it's giving me, it's giving me a lot of this energy that we're seeing right now, that, you know, it's the amplification, especially for energy within the divine union right now, of what is outside one's own power to change. That's what we're seeing that is happening right now for a lot of the energy within the divine union. That's why we see even now, like, a lot of that energy is doing what they can, you know, along the way. But also, like, holding space for one another and recognizing and identifying what one would change if one could, but effectively also recognizing that, you know, again, how we navigate through regret is recognizing that sense of grace and seeing and understanding of accepting what we can't change. So we see that a lot of that energy right now is working through that capacity, right? And almost holding a little bit of that energetic compassion for one another along the way in navigating through some of those circumstances and situations, because we see that that's a lot of that, like, that's a lot of that work that is, and I want to say forgiveness of the past, for the feminine being able to let go of any of those spaces wherein, again, you may be holding more rage or frustration from that point of clarification. For masculine, you know, letting go or shedding any of that regret in terms of understanding and recognizing what it's taken for you to have the perception that you find yourself in now. It's hard work. It's hard work to do that. And the energy right now coming into divine union is doing the same exact work, because that's that moment of starting to feel the breakthrough point in seeing something that's changing around you. It might feel even more devastating for energy just coming into the divine union, because that's something that, again, the energy within, deeper in the heart of the divine union, has experienced potentially on multiple occasions. While as for the energy that's just coming in, this may be the first time that you're feeling that. It could be like feeling like a lot of that, like, unpacking, if you will. Masculine and feminine in separation, this accomplishment point feels like a breakthrough in separation, because this is the energy that's almost affirming to themselves and saying, while I cannot change the past, I can change the past. And how is the energy in separation changing the past? The energy in separation is changing the past by affirming their commitment not to repeat it. And that is the requirement of the energy, making the choices that they feel allow for the healing to begin. And we see even here, that is the energy that's feeling that positivity. Because if these are spaces and places that the energy recognizes in the past they would have remained in, or they would have internalized what was happening, the ability to see how one may have approached something and recognize that you have changed is the energy that is feeling the catharsis of saying, I see that my manifestation is coming through, but it's starting from within. Continuing clarification between our Seven of Swords in its reversal and our Page of Pentacles in its reversal. One card to clarify, please. Clarification coming through right now with the Strength in its reversal. It's vulnerable. It's going to be like, I got to tell you, it's going to be one of those soft days. It's going to be one of those, everybody just be kind to each other today. Because I can see it here. Everybody's just feeling a little vulnerable today. Everybody's just feeling a little like, and I think a lot of this has to do, again, it's hard. Because for a lot of this energy and separation, this is that letting go process, right? This is the energy that's almost remembering in separation, saying to themselves, oh, I have to remember, if I want what I desire, I have to be able and be ready to relinquish that possibility, right? This is the energy that's really understanding what that means, because when we say that, that is that idea of identifying. I'm going to use the salt metaphor again. Okay? If you're looking for salt and you open up a cupboard and there's not salt there, you don't just stick around watching and waiting for the salt to be there. You have to move on. You have to continue looking. So even here, this is the energy that's almost reaffirming them to themselves and saying, what I'm seeking, like I must move in that vibration of recognizing that I move, like when we move towards our manifestations, it's not sedentary. It's one that requires us to also take the activation steps to be able to generate that thing coming towards us. So we see even now that a lot of that energy right now in separation is changing their own behavior to facilitate their manifestation goal occurring. And a lot of that is starting from within and saying, if I want what I desire from someone, I need to be able to relinquish when I'm not receiving it. If I want something and I'm not receiving it, the ability to say that is not what I desire is effectively energetically welcoming in what you do desire. While for masculine and feminine energy that is coming into divine union, you're having that breakthrough potentially because you're receiving what you desire, and now it's giving you a whole different perception on the places and spaces that you did not receive what you were seeking, which can feel very vulnerable, right? Because it's something that just has to be experienced and absorbed. While for masculine and feminine energy that is deep within the divine union frequency, this is the compassion. This is the care. This is the love, effectively, that we're seeing that a lot of the energy within the divine union holds for one another. That I want to say almost feels like that act of energetic surrender, right? That's that moment that the energy almost feels the way they feel. And it's almost like the energy, like when you're truly in that state of love, you're kind of like, it's out of my hands. You know what I mean? It's like, it doesn't feel so much like something that one is choosing to a certain extent. That's the beauty about love. Like once you allow love to grow, it becomes inevitable, right? You can't, you kind of like, you lose your own control over it to a certain extent because it's a power beyond words. So we see even now that for a lot of the energy in that modality, that like expansion or that feeling to a certain extent, that's that softness that becomes a source of strength to a certain extent, because this is the energy that almost feels that sense of energetic compassion for one another that goes beyond words, right? It doesn't need a tangible expression point. So we see even now that if this is energy that's trying to articulate that to energy outside the divine union frequency, it can sometimes be a little hard, right? So we see even now like that can be very difficult. And we see even here like almost that difficulty. That's why I can see even now, if like someone's asking for explanations here or something here, it may feel like that moment of just kind of like, I want to say like a shrug to a certain extent, be like, it's hard for me to tell you like what that means, because that's that moment of, again, I told you, if this is energy of the divine union that's trying to like make that tangible, it's almost that observation point in saying the tangible is not necessary, but it helps energy around it understand the magnitude of what they're energetically feeling. Continuing to get clarification between the Page of Pentacles in its reversal and our Three of Pentacles in its upright. One card to clarify, please. Clarification coming through right now. We've been getting so many 10 cards. So many 10 cards. 10 of Wands in its upright. So we see even now like a lot of that energy within the divine union is continuing on that path forward. And this is the energy that's like moving with like a lot of I want to say, I told you that slowness, right? That slow approach. It's not even something here that like it doesn't like it really like, it's almost like that moment that we see right now, that like the energetic commitment that the energy within the divine union frequency has is that commitment and bearing that weight together. Right? It's simply put, it's that simple. It's almost that energy that's, again, like holding firm, because this is the energy that you know, the way that we move can either feel like a burden or a joy, depending on what we're carrying and how much we care about what we're carrying. So we see even here that for a lot of that energy, like, it's giving me like a lot of that feeling of like, they're not heavy, they're my brother kind of vibe here. You know what I mean? Because this is the energy that is almost articulating within the divine union frequency that, like, you know, again, it's not energy that would ever ask the counterpart to do so. But this is almost the affirmation and recognition within the self of saying, I would do anything for that person. Right? Like, that's that moment of saying, like, and not as a gesture. You know what I mean? It's like almost that moment of being not as a gesture, but because, like, that feels like that is the inevitability of that motion of love that almost speaks towards that sensation that the love itself is the priority. While for masculine and feminine energy coming into divine union, this is very, I want to say it's a little funny here, because this is energy that has not put a commitment promise to each other. These are energies that are just starting to build into a relationship, but they can tell that there's something different here. What is different? This energy has committed to each other, because in the ability to articulate a manifestation goal, we say to one another in that time that you're the priority of the counterpart in wanting to ascend, to move in that direction, supersedes the ability to move in that direction. That is the energy that already promised and showed via the ability to articulate in such a way that their integrity was not in getting what they seek at all costs, but allowing for that amplification of the priority and finding a counterpart that wanted the same things as they did, and their ability to commit and articulate upon the fact that they're moving in that direction. This is the energy that has created a bond between themselves, because this is the energy that is building into the heart of something that is beautiful, because it's a recognition of laying a strong foundation. Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now between our Six of Swords in its reversal, in combination with our Five of Cups in its upright. One card to clarify, please. Clarification coming through right now with our Seven of Pentacles. Slow day. Slow day. This is a slow day. Masculine and feminine energy right now that is in separation. This is the energy, again, the breakthrough that's happening here is happening within the self. This is the energy that's becoming more stable and secure within the self. And this is the energy that's recognizing in separation and saying, if I want something, I need to be able to have the ability and the strength within myself to move away from what is not that. So we see even here that a lot of that energy, that ability of recognizing that feels like that quality and characteristic of energy that is building a point of closure within themselves, because you're recognizing that you are changing how you move to move towards what it is that you seek. It starts from within. And for the energy right now in separation, that is the energy that is being patient. That isn't energy that's trying to rush the process. This is the energy that's holding on to the commitment in saying to themselves that in order to move towards one's manifestation goal, one must be patient, right? It requires that moment of being able to take the time and the effort necessary to recognize at every moment if something is moving in the direction that one would aspire and desire it to. But what's beautiful about this is that if this is energy right now that is stepping away or moving away from someone that they feel isn't reflecting that, doesn't show that ability to be mindful about what they're creating in terms of what they're building in terms of a relationship with another person, this is the energy that doesn't feel like that's a failure point. This is energy that feels like that's just a step along the way. That's the energy saying that's me moving away from the no that brings me closer to my yes. While for masculine and feminine energy right now, that is coming into divine union, this is why the energy right now feels like this is the start of something that could be truly beautiful that's occurring, because they're recognizing that something feels different. And the feeling that's different is the accomplishment of a hurdle that some of the energy may feel like they were caught in for quite a long piece of time. This isn't the energy that feels like they're waiting for their manifestation goal to appear. This is the energy that feels the state or space of having it arrive and now just watching it grow. While for masculine and feminine energy right now, that is deep within the divine union, this is just that work. This is just putting that work into practice to a certain extent. This is effectively a lot of this energy that is being patient, proceeding forward, right? The energetic commitment is on continuing forward in that state of growth. And this is the energy that I want to say a lot of that gift of love is the expression and the expansion point. It's not the point of celebration. It's not the point of accomplishment. It's what you do and how you care for one another at every step along the way. So we see even here that this is the energy deep within the divine union frequency, that expansion of love is that moment of saying, even when it is hard, it is beautiful, because it's not the feeling of navigating it alone. It's a feeling of saying, you are here and I am with you. And that makes it a journey. That makes it a joy to be able to navigate it together. Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now between our Five of Cups in combination with our Strength card in its reversal. Three of Swords. I told you, there's a lot of energetic unpacking today. A lot of emotional unpacking. A lot of working through. Like, this is just like, whew. Like, there's just going to be a lot of this energy today. And it's going to be, I want to say, we're going to talk about a heart expansion, right? A heart expansion isn't elation, right? A heart expansion just isn't feeling like joy. It's being able to feel all of the access points of one's heart. So feeling, you may have a lot of those moments today that you feel like that radiant point of positivity, while also feeling that radiant point of sadness. So like, again, we're also in Gemini season when all of this is happening. So this makes a lot of sense. So if you're saying to yourself, like, I don't know what I feel, I just feel a lot of it. Remember that your heart's got a lot of room. It can hold a lot of stuff. Letting yourself kind of focus and concentrate on that. Don't feel like you need to resist that. Just come into that space of like appreciating. Like, I feel like the meditation for today is like almost thanking your heart for how much it can hold. Like coming into that state of like saying thank you to my heart for how much it can hold. Because if anything, we see here that a lot of that feels like, especially for the energy deep within the divine union frequency, and also like across all the frequencies, that point of like contentment, that point of having reached some kind of breakthrough, while also navigating how much it has taken along the way, like that's a lot. So we see even now like that ability of doing so, just really kind of that, I want to say, it's feeling what the heart feels, but almost coming into a state of appreciating the fact that it can feel it, right? Like that's not a broken heart. That is a heart that is recognizing its beautiful power to hold and to heal. While for masculine and feminine energy that is coming into divine union, this is the energy that's heart is hurting because they're immediately healing with someone. And it's in the moment that we start to heal with someone, do we fully understand exactly what we have to heal from. So this is a lot of energy that's getting that context via the new energetic connection that you're experiencing, that is allowing for that to be able to facilitate. While for masculine and feminine energy that is in separation right now, this is the energy that is feeling that breakthrough point, because this is the energy in separation saying, if I don't want my heart broken, I need to move away from the energy that's showing indications that they will break it. And so if this is energy that is not seeing that manifestation goal being brought forth in an energetic connection, this is the energy that is prioritizing taking care of the heart space, as opposed to, again, handing it to someone without knowing, like, this is the energy that's almost looking at their heart going, I'm going to take care of you, little buddy. I'm going to do better. I might have messed up before, but this time I'm going to do better, because this is the energy that's realizing the absurdity of meeting someone and saying, hey, how are you doing? Good. Where are you going? No idea. Oh, good. Can you hold this for me? Can you hold this for me? Right? That is the energy that's almost saying to themselves, if I'm going to give my heart to someone, I better know what they're going to do with it. I better know where they're going to go with it. I better see indications of them at least being able to articulate what their hope and aspiration is to do with it prior to being able to offer it to them. Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now between our Strength card in its reversal and our 10 of Wands. One card to clarify, please. Clarification coming through right now with our 2 of Swords in its reversal. Masculine and feminine energy right now that is in separation. This is the breakthrough point that we're seeing. This is that moment that feels to a certain extent like a breakthrough, because the breakthrough that's happening, I'm telling you now, is the energy within the self, the choices that one is making, right? Because this is the energy right now in separation that is being very mindful about the choices that they're making in order to allow that to be a moment of, again, prioritizing the direction that they're hoping to move, right? This is the energy that's keeping their focus on the direction as opposed to making an energetic connection, right? This ability to be discerning in this way, simply being mindful, if you will, not just about the ability to make a connection, but identifying and recognizing the direction that that connection is going in. This is, that spiritual or energetic hygiene that we're recognizing is occurring for so much of the energy in separation, that's beginning with the self and beginning with the choices one makes. And even if those choices are heavy, right, even if they feel vulnerable, that's a lot of that energy that is feeling at the same time that sense of doing what they know is right for the self by maintaining that focus and direction in terms of what they want to achieve in relation to what they're trying to build with another counterpart energy. While for masculine and feminine energy right now that is coming into divine union, bearing in mind this is not based on gender, but what it feels most aligned to. A lot of this work that we see that you are navigating right now has to do with the fact that you are experiencing a breakthrough point in the connection that you're building with another individual right now. And even if this is the start of something, and this isn't energy that's trying to get ahead of themselves, this is also energy that feels like they already can tell something's different because they're calmer. They're not in such a rush, because this is the energy that is feeling. They're energetically feeling the difference in being in a connection that has that level and degree of clarity, that has that level or degree of understanding. It doesn't feel like a what if or what will. It feels like a what is. And that moment of inhabiting something that feels like it is tangible and present, that is the energy that is recognizing. And even at that moment, is suddenly able to see what occurred in the past with a new sense of clarity, because suddenly you're inhabiting the feeling that is required to be able to generate a form of comparison. While for masculine and feminine energy right now, that is deep within the divine union frequency, this is a space that you inhabit. This is just where you exist. This is just where you exist. This is just the nature of it, like c'est la vie. Because that is the energy, as it were, that feels, again, it's not that inhabiting that space. That inhabiting that space is difficult. This is why we talk about the fact that love is hard. Because when you are in that space of love, it allows for that feeling of vulnerability, right? It feels like you are constantly moving in that vulnerable state. But that is the silk to steel. That is the vulnerability that creates strength. Because the energy that is able to move with such compassion is the energy that realizes that it doesn't come naturally or even instinctually. It comes intentionally. It comes with a desire to continually, perpetually fight to be able to share that vulnerability with another. Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now between our Seven of Pentacles in combination with our Three of Swords. May I please have one card to clarify? Clarification coming through right now with our Empress card in its reversal. Masculine and feminine energy right now that is in the divine union frequency. Again, this is the same exact card that we pulled yesterday. This is the same exact card. This is a little bit more difficult right now for feminine energy. Bearing in mind this is not based on gender, but what it feels most aligned to. Because, for feminine and masculine right now, there's that moment or that modality of navigating and through the doubt of the self, right? Because even here, what did we say that a lot of that energy was working through? The energy deep within the divine union frequency is navigating what one's heart desires versus what one doesn't have the capacity to change, right? You're only one person. You can only do so much. So what are these energies doing along the way? They're reminding each other of that, right? If this is masculine and feminine that have those moments or points, bearing in mind this is not based on gender, but what it feels most aligned to, both of these frequencies having those moments of doubting themselves. Feminine feeling like, again, that point of failure and not being able to be energetically available to everyone that they aspire or desire to be. Feeling in a way that sense of personal failure within themselves in that modality. Masculine's giving them like a little bit of a wake-up call, going, hey. It's not your job to be everything for everyone. It's your job to be the best version of yourself that you can be. While for masculine, if this is masculine, that's having that moment of feeling frustration, saying, I can't change this. I can't change this person. That's a problem. Feminine's doing this more in this collective energy. Masculine's trying to do it around like an individual or a situation. This is the masculine. This is not working. This is feminine that's reminding masculine and saying, listen, you're not for everybody. Like, you tell me that that it's not, like, you're saying these are energies. You see, they're reflecting back to each other. They're reminding each other of the lessons that they're giving one another, right? So even here, this is the energy that's giving each other support along the way. And the love is not coming into that point of like amplifying someone's like weakness. This isn't a space where like you're like, oh, there's your Achilles heel. This is the energy that does everything they can to prevent the self from doing that, like from self-sabotaging, from doubting, for overly doubting the self, for falling into too much of that questioning. This is the energy that's like showing that love for one another, because again, it's almost reminding each other along the way that it's not their job to be perfect. It's just their job to continue forward and be as consistent as possible along the way. While for masculine and feminine energy coming into divine union right now, a lot of this energetic equivalent that we're seeing, this is more triggering. This is more, why is it more triggering? Because it is in the moment that you receive something that you did not have, that you have a method of comparison that can create a different energetic lesson. So if energy has had that breakthrough point, if they're feeling the difference of what is present, what is tangible, that sense of actually growing with someone that is acknowledging and building upon what it is that you hope to achieve and maintain with them. Well, suddenly the past looks like it's coming through with a different context. And so even now, this could have a different impact on masculine and feminine. I told you, feminine navigating anything that may come up as hurt, frustration, anger, anything of the feminine going, wow, I had a wound there. I couldn't even see it before. Right? Because that's the feminine energy, much like the energy in separation going, I was internalizing an external problem. While for the masculine energy going through that process right now, if this is masculine that had the confidence of telling the feminine their dream, and this is energy that's building together, well, this is masculine either remembering a moment where they tried to give that dream to feminine and they rejected it in the past, or recognizing and identifying why something didn't work with an energy of feminine because they never gave them that opportunity to build with them in the first place. So masculine working through a little bit more of this energetic regret, feminine working through a little bit more of that energy that may come through as like anger or frustration or even rage. While for masculine and feminine energy right now that is in separation, a lot of this work that we see is occurring right now is the energy being much more kind to their heart. Like this is a lot of the energy that is like really looking at themselves to a certain extent, and they're thinking about who they're giving their heart to, right? And this is the energy of both and I gotta tell you, these guys are like set to like encounter one another now, because we've literally got energy that they were about to potentially go back to something. They saw like they started to build a connection with someone. They started to see that ability of feeling that perception in terms of a connected past lesson. But if it wasn't amplified by the energy being able to articulate what it is they desire going forward, this is the energy that was like, well, I'm not going to give this to you if I don't know what you're going to do with it. I'm not going to give this to you if I don't know where you're going. Like, I'm not going to let you hold this. This is the most precious thing I've got. Like, this is the energy that's like this is the energy of like caring of the heart space state, because this is the energy that's making the hard choice because they're prioritizing their energetic heart. And so they're being considerate about, again, the damage that can occur when you give your heart space to someone that can't even articulate where they're going to go with it or what they want to do with it or what they hope or aspire going forward. While for the energy right now, continuing to get clarity on these cards right now between our Three of Swords in combination with our Two of Swords in its reversal. May I please have one card to clarify? Clarification coming through right now. Oh, this is what we like to see. We've got this beautiful King of Pentacles energy here. Masculine and feminine energy in separation right now. Look at these counterparts. Look how close they are. They can almost touch. I told you, there are new energetic connections that are potentially starting right now. Why are these energetic connections starting? Because the energy is saying no to something that is moving them closer to their yes, right? So what is masculine and feminine energy doing right now in separation? This is the masculine energy. If this was a masculine that put forward that manifestation goal towards a feminine and the feminine was not able to meet or articulate it, and the masculine not coming into that space of taking it personally, but using their powers of observation. This is again the masculine that is saying the issue isn't the manifestation goal. This is the masculine that's feeling the confidence and the security of having brought that forward. And what are we seeing here? These energies are in alignment now. This is the masculine saying, if the feminine can't meet or match my manifestation goal, there could be a whole bunch of reasons for that. That could be a feminine that isn't ready to move towards a manifestation goal, or that's a feminine energy that wants to keep their options open, or that's a feminine energy that is holding on to a past and hoping that a past experience will come back healed. Masculine saying to themselves, it's not my job to figure out why the feminine isn't able to match my manifestation goal. It's just within my power to observe it and recognize that if that ever changes, the feminine knows where to find me because they know what my manifestation goal is. For feminine, this is the same. The difference here is that this is feminine that is remembering and recalling that masculine energy always has a manifestation goal. This is the feminine energy that's basically saying that the feminine energy's job isn't to parse out why the masculine isn't able to articulate their manifestation goal to the feminine. This is the feminine energy that's reaffirming and saying, I'm not going to internalize an external problem. I'm not going to ask myself what I need to adapt or adjust with the hope that the masculine will do me the gift of showing me what their manifestation goal is. This is the feminine energy saying the ability of the manifestation of the manifestation goal should not be an accomplishment point after establishing an energetic connection point with masculine energy. It needs to be a requirement. And that is the feminine energy that's reaffirming that. And again, if they're not experiencing that, that can be more frustrating. That can be more upsetting to the feminine because it brings up more. While you see here, this is a masculine that is feeling security in that breakthrough. This is the feminine that is feeling the frustration in situations and circumstances that feel like, in a way, that they're almost trying to compel the feminine energy to be in that modality of abandoning their own manifestation goal for the hope and expectation of receiving one from a counterpart energy. This is the feminine energy saying, I'm not reducing myself. I'm not lowering my energetic standard to match that type of vibration. This is the feminine energy just kind of going forward. And that ability to do so is the feminine energy holding a deeper appreciation for themselves in the process. While for masculine and feminine energy that is coming into divine union, this is the breakthrough that's occurring in experiencing and receiving that from a counterpart energy. Because I got to tell you, even now, these energies, even if they just met, even if they've been building on this connection, they haven't committed anything to it. They are completely committed to each other. Why? Because they don't need to articulate on what the commitment is, even if it's growing here, because this is the energy that is feeling the difference of what is instead of what could be. This isn't energy that feels like they're coming into connection and they're having to question what is occurring. This is the energy that has shown integrity through authenticity and clarity in relationality of what is happening within and around them. That is the pledge of commitment, because it is reaffirming and prioritizing the care and the consideration of the external person above and beyond the manifestation goal of the self, which reflects an ability of seeing energy that is moving in a way that literally articulates on the fact that it is ready for integration because it holds integrity. It is integral. So there's already something beautiful happening here. But in the moment of encountering one another and receiving that, even if it's just hasn't been spoken, It's just being displayed through action. This is energy that starts to heal in the process, because feminine recalls and remembers all the spaces and places that they would have desired that and didn't receive it. And masculine is feeling the energetic confidence of having come into their own self enough to be able to prioritize protecting the feminine in the process. Both of these energies recognizing that, again, holding space for how much it took to be able to go on that personal journey, while also being appreciative of one another along the way. While for masculine and feminine energy right now, that is in the divine union frequency, this is the energy reaffirming each other's commitment and pledge to what they're doing. This is the energy, even in the space of feeling doubts or fears or uncertainty. This is the energy that acts as a clear mirror towards one another, supporting each other, fostering each other's growth, helping each other, even in moments that they're doubting each other in the process, right? Because this is the feminine, again, amplifying and feeling that frustration to a certain extent, in feeling that self-limitation. And this is the masculine that we see that's before the feminine, that's saying, this is almost a masculine saying to feminine, bearing in mind this is not based on gender, but what it feels most aligned to. You do have a flaw. You're too hard on yourself. Your flaw is you're too hard on yourself. This is almost the feminine, masculine energy articulating this to the feminine and saying, like, yeah, you've got incredibly high standards, right? And this is the feminine, again, articulating to the masculine, if that's a masculine that's feeling frustration. And this is the feminine saying to the masculine and saying, yeah, you do have a flaw. You never feel like you've done enough. You're always looking for something else to do, recognizing that, again, the ability to question oneself in terms of what you're doing is usually the most beautiful reflection of someone who cares. So we see even now that these are energies that are supporting each other on the way. While for masculine, continuing to get clarification on these cards right now, final card for today's spread between our Empress card in combination, Empress card in its reversal in combination with our King of Pentacles in its upright. One card to clarify. This is beautiful. We've got our Four of Cups in its upright here. So we've got a lot of the energy and separation that is remembering that manifestation isn't the idea of conjuring something out of nothing. Manifestation is the act of remembering that the only way to find something is to find out where it's not. That is the energy that is recognizing and identifying and working through that process to a certain extent. So we see even now that for a lot of that energy and separation, some of it is almost coming into that point of, again, building into, and I see even now, like, it's that possibility of excitement in terms of moving forward and being able to allow for that point of feeling like there is a change that is occurring here. And this is the energy that is changing the way that they are choosing. They're changing the way they're choosing. They're changing the way that they're moving within the self that is bringing about the change. Because this is the energy and separation that says, if I desire change, I must be reflective of the change that I hope to see. So for feminine energy right now, this is feminine that's almost articulating and saying, if I move towards masculine and I'm willing to forgo and to relinquish my manifestation goal, like waiting for the masculine to be able to deem to give me their manifestation goal in kind, this is the feminine energy saying, I recognize that I choose in that moment. I recognize that I've made a choice. I'm not moving towards my manifestation goal. I'm making the choice to relinquish my own manifestation goal, to wait expectedly for the masculine to drop theirs on me. Just wait. And this is the feminine energy that's saying that that's the feminine energy is saying that that's not how this energy and separation is moving forward in that way, right? While for masculine energy, this is the energy of masculine saying, if I've gone through, and this is the masculine energy, I have to say the masculine energy in this modality. This is why that feels a bit proud of themselves. This is more coming from a point of pride. This is masculine going, if I've gone to all the trouble within myself, like if I've overcome all these egoic obstacles to be able to articulate to the feminine what I desire and not take it personally, this is the masculine going, I'm just looking for feminine that's able to do the same. I'm looking for the feminine energy that is appreciative of that work. I'm looking for the feminine energy that values and sees it for what it is. Because that's the masculine energy saying, if I move towards the feminine that can't see the value of that, that's effectively me moving towards the feminine that may never see the value of how much it takes to be able to do so. So we see even now that both of these energies, do you see how they're primed to potentially find one another in this point of separation by the amplification of them making different choices that are potentially leading them to find one another along the way? While for masculine and feminine energy right now that is coming into divine union, this is the energy having the breakthrough because you are literally experiencing that, and it's giving you a context. You're receiving something in a way that you haven't received it before, and suddenly in receiving something that you haven't received before, you get clarity of comparison that allows you to see something in a different way, having a different impact. More triggering right now for feminine energy. More triggering for feminine energy. Maybe a little bit more temperamental here for the feminine energy, because that's that moment, the minute you take something that you internalize and you externalize it, woof, the whole time. It's like that. It's like the whole time. It's a little bit of that type of energy, right? While for masculine, this feels more like that accomplishment point, because you realize or you feel like you've grown into your full embodiment of self. Like that's that moment that, again, you're trying to integrate the fact that you may not necessarily have been energetically perfect on the way, but you're reflecting through your actions the person that you desire to be. And so this is the masculine energy saying, even when I question myself, I need to move in the way of the masculine I hope to become. Because when masculine moves in the way of the masculine they hope to become, masculine becomes the embodiment of that signature, of that frequency. So we see even now, like that's the energy that's having those breakthrough moments, even in that point of personal understanding. While for masculine and feminine energy, deep within the divine union, this is the energy saying, I see who you are. And the energy is reaffirming their own commitment to one another in that modality. In effectively, again, amplifying that these are not energies that move forward hoping to elicit an energetic reaction. This is an energy that does something for the sake of what is returned back to them. This is energy that is moving in the vibration of love, and the vibration of love doesn't move in a space of receiving back. It is in the space of doing something because it is who you are, is because of who you be deemed to be. And so these are energies that almost remind each other along the way that, like, if they question themselves, if they doubt themselves, then that is the grace. Because when you're trying to do something perfectly, it's often problematic that the energy feels like they question themselves along the way, because that is the energy that's always holding themselves to such an standard. That's not an energy that's looking for an excuse to behave badly. That is the energy that's constantly holding themselves to a higher standard because they always see or have that desire to want to do better. And that is that expression or expansion of love, masculine and feminine, that are almost re-amplifying and saying to one another within the divine union, I see you in a way that's even clearer than you see yourself. And that ability to articulate that is the gift that the energy within the union provides, because that is the energy that is able to feel like the connection that you have with the counterpart helps you remember who you are along the way. Bottom of the deck on this reading, the moon card. I'm not surprised to see it. Not surprised to see it on a day like today. You know, across all the frequencies right now, we are seeing, listen, I'm telling you right now, there's a lot of this, there's a lot of brightness here, but there's like a lot of heaviness, right? Like strong, like bright light casts strong shadows kind of thing. I feel like I want you to remember that today. I feel like that's important. Remember, bright light casts strong shadows. So, and especially the fact that we're experiencing this type of frequency in the Gemini season. You may feel like you're bouncing back and forth between modalities a lot today, right? You may feel like these moments that may feel very exuberant, marked with like moments that feel very energetically devastating. Remember to think about them holistically. Remember to like just imagine that, like, you know, it all comes out like it all comes out in the wash to a certain extent, because we see even here again that ability to introspect, that ability to kind of face one's own fears. That is that moment that we see is like allowing for that sense of energetic courage to ride through, because we see even now, like with a lot of this work, you know, this is again the energy within the divine union doesn't move from a place of fear, right? Because that frequency of love is one that permeates fear, right? So we see even now, like being able to like navigate through those hurdles, like allow that to be a moment of kind of thinking about, and this is why we call it like allowing those moments that remember and recognize that even when we doubt ourselves, that doubt is a sign of perfection, because we can't achieve perfection without having those moments of doubt, because that is the moment that you don't become righteous. You're assessing and you're asking yourself and questioning oneself, that allows for that level or degree of introspection that builds upon one's own sense of like following your path work. So a lot of the energy right now that's within the divine union is going through those moments of processing through that sometimes can feel overwhelming or anxiety inducing or devastating. But what is the energy reaffirming to themselves in those modalities? You are not alone, right? You're not alone. While for the energy right now that is coming into the divine union, this may feel a little more difficult, because this is the energy that's understanding where they came from in the moment that they're receiving something that they haven't received before. And sometimes when that happens, the past looks a lot worse. Like that's almost that moment. I told you, we talked about this yesterday, walking away from something, and the further you get, the worse it looks. Like allowing for that observational point. Don't let that feel devastating. Let that feel reassuring if you're feeling like that, because it means that you're moving in the right direction. If the darkness is back there, if the bad stuff is back there, and that's that moment that you're feeling overwhelmed, let that just reaffirm your own certainty that you're moving in the right direction, because you're seeing something from a better perspective. While for masculine and feminine energy right now in separation, this is the energy that feels that doubt or anxiety. Because when you're moving forward and you can't see what you hope to achieve, there can be those moments of saying, is that really happening? Am I really going to find that? But remember, even in that modality, that the ability to hold an energetic standard, like, is the light that you're shining and carrying with you on the way, because you're not alone in that modality. Like what you're carrying with you is that light. It is that dream. Because that's that moment that you're effectively moving forward and saying, I have a dream. This is what I hope to aspire to build with someone. So your own ability to hold that light and to articulate upon it is the expressibility that it does exist. It exists in you. And I hate to break it to you, the possibility that you're the only person with that dream is probably very, very small and probably impossible. So again, you have to have that moment of remembering that if it lives in you, it probably lives in someone else. So you're moving forward in that way with that affirmation of recognizing that you're moving forward through that space. And that's that moment that the no becomes the yes, because you're choosing to follow that energetic dream. That is our daily collective read for today. I want to thank you guys so much for being here to experience it. Just a reminder, if you would like to book a private reading with me, you can book one on my website, graystrega.com. My private readings are done over video, and if you are a subscriber to my TikTok, you can take 10% off any of my services when you pay. Just mention your subscriber name at the point of payment. Please keep in mind there are two things I do not read for here on this app. Those are pregnancy and medical. Happy to read for anything in a private reading. You book a private reading on my website, Strega.com. And if you book a private reading with me, please remember that it is a two-step process. You have to book the reading, you have to pay for the reading. Please make sure you do both if you would like to have that reading. Most importantly, please remember, I will never, ever, 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 ever reach out to you for a private reading. I will never DM you. I will never PM you. I will never slide into your inbox and tell you that I have a very important message that only I can deliver. The only way you can book a reading with me is if you book one on my website. So I encourage you to do it there. Last night, it was such a delight and joy to be able to go through the High Priestess card with you. If you missed our class yesterday, never fear, you can still catch the recap and recording of it for if you become a paid subscriber to my Substack, graystrega.substack.com. Your subscription will grant you access to the recording for if you become a paid subscriber to my Substack, graystrega.substack.com. Your subscription will grant you access to the recording. Subscriber to my Substack will grant you access to a one-on-one chat with me and the other students to ask any questions you may have in relation to the member to my Substack. Not only do you get a discount on the full year's worth of classes, but you will also receive a one-on-one mentorship reading with me where we will assess where you are on your own tarot journey, and I'll give you the best insights in terms of how to utilize the classes and your own pathwork most effectively going forward. One of the things I really tried to do in building these classes was make them so that they would be useful to both the absolute novice tarot reader as well as the seasoned reader. There's definitely something there for everyone. So thank you if you were a part of the class last night, and I look forward to seeing you at our next one. And even if you don't become a paid subscriber to my Substack, I would encourage you to follow me there to stay up to date on any new events, opportunities, or offerings that I may be providing. Also, speaking of offerings, we are doing a giveaway. If you would like to become a part of entering for a free tarot reading by me, head over to my Linktree, go ahead and take that 2-minute travel survey, and you will grant yourself an entry into the giveaway. But if you'd like to increase your chances, go ahead and send that to a friend, because when I pull the winner, I will be giving away not one but 2 tarot readings, one to the person who won and also to the person who referred them. So again, thank you if you've already taken that survey, and I wish you the best of luck in winning. Finally, I have a few new offerings that I am offering my clients. First, we have mentorship classes. Those are one-on-one classes that are based on the subject or area of your choosing. I take very few mentees for that reason. Those can be purchased on an individual class level or as a monthly class package of 4 45-minute classes. Also, for my clients that are seeking more consistent weekly tarot support, I'm very happy now to be offering weekly tarot insight packages. So a discounted rate on 4 30-minute readings, 1 per week. I want to thank you guys so much for being here today and sharing in these messages. And we will do this again